Hello, my fellow chatterers and book lovers, and anyone else who's popped in because you're curious about what this is or you have got a bit lost. Welcome, everyone. I'm Chatty. Welcome to my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter. I'm going to be chatting away madly about, or at least attempting to chat away madly about, the second part of my July wrap-up. For context, I'm filming it in October because it's taken me that long to get to it. So let's hope I can actually remember something about these books that I have been reading. Also, I have caught one of those wonderful winter colds. I've done well. It's taken me a while to get one, so I can't really complain. So apologies for all the snuffles here on after. So grab yourself a brew and I will chat about some books that you may be interested in hearing about, wondering when I was going to talk about them, or you may not really care. Either way, I'm going to talk about them. The tea is hot, it is excellent, and I'm now going to do my little gimmick with my tiny teacup. So in this video, it's a long video, I don't edit them, so cheers everyone, it is one shot, there is no editing, it could be chaos. Clink, 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 clink. So I have here lined up all the books I read in the first part of July. Some of them did kind of trickle onto the second part of July, but I have already wrapped these up in a video that I will link here. So that is part of my Journey-athon wrap-up. I read these for the Journey-athon readathon, which was my first readathon that I hosted. I was really excited about it. I had a wonderful time. So if you're interested in middle grade books and hearing about how my reading journey went with those, then do go and check out this video. So I'm now going to talk about everything else that I read in that month. And I did manage to kind of fit in quite a bit more, mainly because I read a load of graphic novels. So I'll talk about those first because I've just mentioned them. So I read, it's a reread. I have read this a few times. This is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman, which is a very popular graphic novel which started off as a webcomic. And Alice Oseman does all the art and obviously the story. This is the first one. This is the Waterstones. I can't remember what particular edition it was, but obviously it's some sort of edition. It has sprayed edges. It has this lovely metallic spine, and I like that it still has the original drawing on there. You can get some. It's now a Netflix drama series, so you can get some with that picture on as well. And if I can find it. Here we go. What I really love about this one is you get an exclusive mini comic of Nick and Charlie in the future, and it's so cute. Let me just show you the first page. Have a little sneaky peek. Here they are. We've got trainers. We've got an alarm clock going. We've got Nick rolling over and saying cha, and him wondering what it is. And they're saying, wake up, today's the day. What they're gonna do, we'll find out. If you I don't know if many copies have got this one. I know another copy that I originally read from before didn't have this one, so I'm not sure. I know Waterstones are also doing a lovely kind of hardback version of this whole series, and I think there is some exclusive extra mini stories in some of those. And I'm being good and I'm only getting myself one copy of the Heartstopper series for now. But I do get excited every time I see people picking up the Waterstone special editions. But I also have the Fairy Loot special editions, which is why I'm not getting the Waterstones one. So I absolutely love these. They come with the original cover, but we've got some metallic stars around them and Heartstoppers in metallic. And we've got this border and metallic blue spine for this one. And then we have the sort of the leaves as the end pages, and this is my favourite bit. Under the dust jacket we have a foil picture of Nick and Charlie and the doggy. I can't remember Nick's doggy's name, so I'm sorry. It was a while ago that I was rereading these. Sorry, Nick's doggy. Terrible person. And I also have the third Heartstopper. So we have the green edges, the green metallic on this one. And then we have some flowers. And then under the dust jacket, we have Nick and Charlie's giving Nick a kiss as they have a selfie. And then they have their maps out because it is the Paris trip one. I'm waiting to hear from Fairy Loot as to when they're going to be releasing the fourth copy. They better be. I feel they will. But there has been quite a gap between second and third. No, there wasn't such a big gap between second and third as there has been since 3rd was announced. So probably have other projects. Oh, I didn't realise I had left the bookmark in here. Oh, I know why I left the bookmark in here. Okay, we'll just move that. So yeah, so I reread Heartstoppers 1 to 3 because these were all the ones that I owned. I had read these 2 previously. I hadn't reread from this copy, so that was really nice. And I'm very excited about the 5th Heartstopper book coming out soon. I'm not sure when. I'll be borrowing it from the library because I will need to read it, and I'll read it in a day because that's what I always do. So I kind of read these over 2 days, and it was just delightful. It's so wonderful to just revisit them and their wonderful story. If you do not know what Heartstopper is, it is just a really cozy contemporary YA with the best healthy relationship messages ever. There's a lot of amazing queer representation. Charlie is gay, falls in love with what he thinks is a straight boy, but it turns out that boy might not be quite so straight as he perceives he is. So we have a wonderful kind of identity realization. We have this beautiful like friends to lovers romantic storyline, but there is also kind of a look at other kind of like toxic relationships, bullying, standing up for yourselves and other things. And by the time we get to the 3rd one, they have started to kind of like bring this kind of little gang of buddies together, which is amazing. So we get to see all of those. And I think the Network show has done a really good job of kind of pulling out those more secondary characters and kind of giving them their own story kind of right from the beginning, which has been really lovely to see. So I love kind of the show and the books in very different ways. And these are just gorgeous, and I had the best time rereading them. Yay. I'm just going to shunt this along to make space for them on my little shelf. I might just pause because this could get boring. So the next 2 books that I'm going to talk about were both buddy reads. So I was kind of reading them in kind of bits and starts throughout July. The first one I'm going to talk about is Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. This is my 2nd time reading this. I read it for the first time, but from a different copy. I read it from my mum's copy that I borrowed, and it was around the time that the TV show first came out. So I was kind of reading the book and then watched the show kind of immediately after. So the 2 kind of merged in my mind ever so slightly. And I do not know anyone who does not think that Michael Sheen and David Tennant are just the best people to be as Azathiel and Cowley. Absolute perfection with those characters and the relationship between those characters. And what I love about this edition is that Paul Kidby did the illustrations. Paul Kidby is my favourite Pratchett illustrator. I adore his artwork. He is a genius, and his art renditions within this copy of Good Omens have Tennant as Cowley and Sheen as Azathiel, and it just made me so happy to see those. Every time I pick it up, I have to show you. I wasn't going to show you this time, but I thought I'm just going to show you again. So look at this. Oh, the problem is it's very glossy, so you get a bit of a shine on it. So I'm trying to do it so you can see it without the shine. So we have this beautiful window, and we have Azathiel in his marvellous white coat and dicky bow, with his beautiful angel wings and halo, looking all very angelic. And then through the other side, we then have Cowley, and it's David Tennant's face as Cowley, and he's in his shades, all in black. We've got a red glow around him, and it's just amazing. One picture that I haven't shown, which I am going to try and find and show, would have been maybe better if I'd done this earlier. You get pictures of the 4 riders of the apocalypse in here, and a few of the other characters as well. One of my favourite pictures is, it's actually a bit of a spoiler, so I will show you later. Let's mark it, and I will show you a little bit later on. So I actually kind of spread into August a little bit for this one. I read most of it in July, but I did drop into August a little bit just because I went on holiday and we went camping. I was like, there's no way the beautiful book can go camping, so I'll just have to finish it at the beginning of August. But it mainly was read in here, which is why I'm talking about it in this wrap up. So this buddy read was a buddy read that was on MJ's channel. If you do not know MJ, she's from Reading This Life. Is an amazing booktuber, really kind of like empowering to all booktubers and encouraging, does loads of different projects, and her Discord is such a place of like wonderful community and just all different types of readers coming together and chatting about books and all other malarkeys. So there was a little group chat on that one. I was pretty rubbish in the group chat, I have to say. I was so hyped for reading this. I was so hyped for reading the series. I still haven't watched the new series because I don't have Prime, so I need to sign up for it, watch it just for those things, and then unsubscribe from it. And I haven't set aside time to do that, but I definitely want to rewatch series 1 and finally rewatch series 2, which I've heard such good things about, which makes me really excited. I know 2 of the people I was group reading this with, Matt from Bask in the Story and Shelley from Percy's Reddit. Percy Does Everything. They both have said how good the series is and how much they enjoyed reading this book. And yeah, they've done some, they have both given an individual review of Good Omens, which I will link for you here. So here is Matt's one, and then I will also link Shelley's as well, so you can also have a look at those where they kind of like dedicate a lot more time to this book, whereas I've just slung it in with my July ones because otherwise we would never get there. So I'll also link Shelley's here, so do click on those links and if you want a bit more information about Good Omens. Sorry, I desperately needed some tea there, the voice is going. And the cold does not help in the slightest. So yes, I really enjoyed my reread with it. It's just such a fun story of amazing silliness. And Matt did actually ask a really interesting question about, does everyone get all of the jokes that have been put in here? Because quite a lot of them were things that definitely someone who is British would kind of get from like things that were kind of relevant at the time then. But I don't know if that translates across, and I'd never thought about that before, so I thought that was an interesting point. I don't actually think we got an answer for that, but it is curious. One of the quotes I really loved in here was something about being so confused that they like, oh no, I'm just gonna butcher it. Let me find it. I can't find it because I stupidly made a note of it on my phone, which is where I do my recording. But it was the way it was phrased. It was like something being difficult, like building an upside down pyramid or something, which doesn't sound as fun with me saying it, but it was written a lot better in the book. Anyway, if you've read the book, I really found that bit funny to the point that I wrote it down. But there's so much of this I found funny, like the humour in here, I love it. It does make me laugh a lot. Just the randomness, I love random. I love kind of like silly and stupid. It does really work for me. But within that, there is still sort of like a cleverness of the way things are put in, like how children's minds work, just this idea of this like gang, the whole concept of the Antichrist just being led in this kind of normal life. There's the concept of these like these satanic nuns and it was just like it was such a mixture of the mundane with the absolute kind of like clashing of the heaven and hell, just the kind of juxtaposition of those two things. I just found it so funny. But the absolute heart of the story is the relationship between Cowley and Azathiel, that they shouldn't really be friends. They're supposed to be enemies. They're supposed to be natural enemies, but something about them just draws them to each other, and they are just kind of the voices of calm amid the utter chaos of basically these two sides really wanting this Armageddon to go ahead, because everyone is up for this war and Earth is just the battlefield for this. Like thousands of years in the making, final showdown between heaven and hell. Amongst that, you've got witches and witchfinders and prophecies, and it's all just kind of counting down to this end of the world, and it's just so much fun. I'll go into the spoiler in a moment, so I can show you that picture. But what I did, I had merged the TV and the book in my head. I couldn't remember what bits were different and what bits were the same. And I did enjoy that the TV gave it a little bit extra for a climactic point, that kind of really kind of pushed the Azathiel and Cowley kind of relationship and kind of their status within their different teams or parties. I really enjoyed how they did that in the TV series, but it doesn't take away just from how fun it is to just read this story between these pages and just having the voices of Pratchett and Gaiman coming together, and you can just tell they had an absolute amazing time writing this. Like I can almost just imagine them giggling to each other as they were like, look at this idea I've got, look at this bit I've written. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall hearing these two kind of come up with this book. It would have been amazing. And there is a really kind of nice forward pardon me, in this book. Was it there? Or was it somewhere else? Or was it afterward? Anyway, there's a bit from Neil Gaiman about this book in here, which is really cool. Oh, here we go. So there's a mixture of there's some like conversations with Pratchett and Gaiman about how they came to write this book, and that was really interesting to read as well, about all the way they kind of worked and different things that kind of came together. So I had an absolutely great time with this, and I'm so sorry that I was not more vocal in the buddy read and I didn't kind of get my act together as much as I wanted to, but I will be going back to that chat once I finally start watching the series. Oh, the spoiler bit. Okay, spoilers now. If you haven't read it and want to, please move on to the next bit. I've put timestamps down below, so you should easily find it. Okay, so this is the one of my favourite illustrations in this book. And I'm going to read the quote as well, because it is fun. So this is the part where Azathiel has kind of become like a ghost spirit and is in a medium's head, who is the neighbour of the witch hunter. "Dear lady, how fast would you say we're going?" asked Azathiel. "Why? Because it seems to me that we would go slightly faster walking." And here they are on her scooter. And we've got Azathiel kind of leaning out in ghost form. And I just love the helmets that they've got. So even down to the point of Madame Tracy's transparent Mac here, and the stickers on her scooter. I just love it all. And Sergeant Shedwell looking sort of disgruntled, riding on the back of a woman of vice, with his demony ghosty person coming out there. I just think that illustration is fantastic. Okay, there we go, that one done. And finally I have This Vicious Grace by Emily Fende. So this was a buddy read that I read with Vadania from Vadania Silverscribe and Chloe from Phantom of the Pages. It was our fairy loot book that we read together this month. And I was so surprised by how much I really enjoyed it. I thought this was going to be sort of like a fun time, but I thought it probably wasn't going to be one that would be my favourite. But I was so wrong. I absolutely loved the main character. I thought she was such a realist, but really funny, and I really enjoyed her approach to the task she's been given. There is a lot of times in here where she feels very much like she is by herself, and she really literally has the weight of her world on her shoulders. So in this kingdom there is it very much has like Sicilian vibes, lemon trees, sort of like Italian island, almost a little bit like a bit of a utopia, but then obviously with all utopias, are they actually a dystopia? We have sort of like these two kind of like gods that sort of fight over this island, and it kind of culminates in this I can't remember what they call it, almost like a reckoning. So there's like a countdown of when this reckoning is going to happen, and so one of the gods wants to destroy, the other one wants to save, and helps the people by giving them a saviour in what they call a fenestra. So this is someone that will channel someone's magical gifts, kind of like times 10, and like protect the whole city through doing that. And they do that by selecting a fonte, which is someone who has got magical gifts. So you find a match, and the two of them marry, and will kind of like amplify the gift and defend the realm during these kind of reckoning moments. I don't know if there's kind of like I don't know what like the time scale is for how long this has been happening, but generally like the powers are given for a certain amount of time and then they're taken away and a new kind of fenestra comes up. So the old one kind of acts as a sort of mentor to this. But something unprecedented has happened. The current fenestra, who is our protagonist, has killed her last 3 fontes. That is unheard of. It is unheard of one fonte death. The first one was kind of forgiven because it's like, oh, she must be so powerful, that is why. But when it happens again, that's a massive whoops. And then third time, people start to question, are other powers at work? Is she a fraud? So not only has she got to save her kingdom, work out how she's supposed to do this on a much more limited time, she's also got to kind of uphold her kind of position and trust in herself, as well as convince everyone else that this is her calling, this is who she's supposed to be, and she is not actually a kind of trick by the other god, and there should be a new Fenestra instead of her. So the other side of this is we also have a love story that kind of comes out of this. The chemistry in this was fantastic, the banter, and also they're just kind of both of their healthy attitudes towards what they were both doing. Like, they both had a goal and a reason for why we kind of had this sort of like bodyguard style romance, and from that it kind of very much had a sort of it was like a bantering, slightly mistrustful friendship, but that they needed each other, that then turned into a caring about each other, with this kind of bubbling sexual tension kind of going on. And it was really well done. I really, really enjoyed it, to the point that I kind of got a little bit emotional and really was just absolutely rooting for them to be able to kind of get together, and really felt that kind of like, as individual characters, like it really worked for them to be together, and it was just a lot of fun. I also really enjoyed kind of the secondary characters we got. I'm hoping we get to see more of that in the second book. I would have liked a bit more of that. We did start to get it, but I definitely really, really wanted more of that kind of found family feeling. I really enjoyed those characters and kind of how they all kind of came together to sort of to fight this. Oh, hold on, sorry, we'll have an interruption. So I really enjoyed how they all kind of came together to sort of fight this. Obviously this journey kind of takes a long time coming, because there's a lot of convincing that needs to happen, but eventually Alessa decides that our protagonist is called Alessa, that she has to kind of not do it the traditional way, because she can't do it the traditional way, and she's going to try and do it her way, and it's just really fun to read about. Despite that, there were a couple of things that bothered me about this book. One of them, there is a sort of reveal about someone's character that I felt would have been more shocking if we had more of the, I suppose, culture of that reveal. I'm not making any sense. But basically I think there needs to be kind of more world building, background story kind of woven in. I think it was mentioned. I know Chloe definitely said it was mentioned, but it went over my head, and I think it went over Vadania's head as well. So I think it would have been nice to have like had that clearer, so that the reveal kind of had more impact, because I was just confused when it was revealed. Another thing is, there is another kind of moment where you definitely feel a sense of betrayal, and through that sense of betrayal we come back to that, and it is made up, and I feel it is made up far too quickly, and I don't think that we really fully explored how devastating that betrayal was, and I don't think that person should have been accepted so quickly again, and that bothered me. Like, more needed to happen. I would like to think that might kind of be explored a bit more in this follow-up book, but I don't know. So because of those two things, I didn't love it as much as I could have, but I did really, really enjoy this book. I will definitely reread it again, and I'm really looking forward to the sequel. So yeah, it was a great read. I'm going to add it on the shelf. Oh dear, sorry, I really have the sniffles. Okay, so this is everything I read in July. If you want to know my stats on these, I am going to be releasing a video very soon which will have that, but I'll put that in the description box for once I have finished. And then that's it. I am now up to date with all of my wrap-ups and all of my videos, and I could just keep ticking over as before, so I feel very good about that. But I didn't want to not talk about these books because I really enjoyed them, and also I do like to document what I read. Thank you very much. If you have enjoyed this and you are still here, then please put either a lemon or a skull for This Vicious Grace, or Good Omens, or a little devil, or actually not a skull, a devil or an angel emoji, to let me know, just to let me know that you're here. And if you've got any thoughts you want to share, I would love to hear them, because you know I love a chat. Happy reading, everyone.